and welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. I am Midnight, your host, and I am here with Mythic.
Hello.
And Darkness.
Hello.
And we are here doing the, this is our third episode of Arcanum Unbounded, and we're doing the 11th medal, and we're doing 4 chapters of Mistborn: A Secret History, doing all of part 1, and then half of part 2. So that is very exciting. We'll get straight into it with the 11th medal. So we start, we have Kelsier's point of view as he clutches at a piece of paper that the wind tries to pull away from him. It was a drawing of a flower that he had tried over a dozen times to redraw from memory, but it was still wrong. He was certain that the original had been destroyed, and thus he had nothing to remember her by. His companion says that he should stop Kelsier from drawing those, but Kelsier just tells him to try. He then places the picture into his shirt pocket, thinking that the petals need to be more tear-shaped. So what did you think of Kelsier trying to redraw Mare's drawing of a flower and not knowing that it was still around somewhere?
I kind of was interested to see like how he kept getting it wrong, because I can't, you can't not think of someone who's like not able to draw a flower. Like we know what it looks like, so
Maybe she was just an amazing artist and he's a really crap artist. So he's like, this just doesn't look right.
I can imagine like a bunch of like scrunched up papers behind him.
Did you have any thoughts about the flower picture, Mythic?
I mean, I figured he was a shit artist. He can't be good at everything.
It's true, he can't be good at everything. So Kelsier glances over at Gemmel and forces himself to smile. He doesn't know how to smile in a world without her, but feels like he needs to keep trying until it feels natural again. Gemmel tells Kelsier that he needs to move on because she betrayed him, and Kelsier pushes away his thoughts of Mare's betrayal and wishes he hadn't told Gemmel about it. He broadens his smile and Gemmel tells him he looks creepy, which Kelsier just replies that's because Gemmel has never seen a real smile before. They're currently on a rooftop and looking down at the city of Mantis, which is in the western dominance. Since there's only one ash mound around, the ash falls a little less here, although people aren't as good about cleaning it up, so it feels like there is more. As he glances around the city, he notes the 4 keeps and asks Gemmel which one. Gemmel points out Keep Shezler, and Kelsier starts mentioning how he can get into the keep, but Gemmel replies that he isn't thinking like an allomancer. Kelsier replies that he can use emotional allomancy, but it angers Gemmel, who says he's a Mistborn and not a street soother working for clips. So what do you think about Gemmel's dislike of emotional allomancy?
I don't know. I feel like it's more ruin charged.
With that, I can agree because of
later little bits, yeah.
Yeah, like all he needs.
But I just feel like even at this point, that's what I was thinking though. It's like Ruin's probably talking to him and telling him things like that.
I mean, you can't kill people easily with emotional allomancy.
Exactly. You can't ruin much.
Also, do you think this relates to how Kelsier treats emotional allomancy in the actual books?
Yeah, that's why when they said that, I was like, oh, so that's why that happens.
Yeah, because he definitely seems like he'd be more. It definitely suits his personality that he'd be more into emotional allomancy, but Gemmel seems like kind of like, no, you're Mistborn, you kill things. You don't fucking soothe people.
My evil.
That's why he's so good at it, because that's all he was basically trained on.
It made me curious though, like all these it feels like he was more inclined to letting Vin, explore through all that herself instead of forcing the same teachings.
Yeah, I mean, he's not as crazy as his fucking teacher, that's for sure.
Well,
Gemmel be real crazy.
Considering what he does after, I mean.
Well, he's still not as crazy as his teacher. Because his teacher crazy.
Low-key, the only part I liked about his teacher was the craziness. So.
Yeah. Honestly, low-key same.
Gemmel's
I didn't like Gemmel at all.
He's an interesting person, that's for sure. But apparently he's the only Mistborn that Kelsier can find to teach him, so.
Oh, I just remember one of my favorite parts from this part.
What'd you say?
But that's later.
I said, I wonder why.
So Kelsier notes that Gemmel seems more like a beast than a man at times, and also sometimes speaks to himself like he's speaking to someone else. Kelsier was fairly sure Gemmel had only a shred of sanity left, but he was the only Mistborn who Kelsier knew, so he was his only option for a teacher unless he wanted to find some nobleman. So what do you think about Gemmel speaking to himself?
Yeah, we already knew it was Ruin. Honestly, at most of this whole book, I thought to myself, man, you should have read this first.
No, he's using the telepathy medal, obviously.
Do you guys think that Gemmel's just insane and that's why Ruin can speak to him, or do you think he's spiked, or both?
I don't think he's spiked.
No, you don't think so?
Mm-mm.
Just insane?
Yeah.
Well, he is pretty insane, so.
Do you think he's just insane as well, Mythic, or do you think he's potentially spiked?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it could be either way.
I wonder if I would be able to hear his voice. That's a good test.
Mm.
Am I insane?
I mean, yeah, you are insane. Fitness.
I come to the next podcast like, did y'all know you can spike people in real life?
I mean, you can. You can.
Just might not give them
100%.
powers.
I mean, you don't know that. Go for it. Go try it.
We first got to stack. How many? Was it 10 people?
Oh my god.
I don't know. How many was the
It's 5
collecting?
people. It's 5.
Five.
5 human beings. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 5 humans, 4 spikes, I believe.
Hey, we just got to test that out.
So
Don't test that out, by the way.
Gimel then goes on that he is here to teach Kelsier how to fight, not talk his way through things. Kelsier says he'll use any tools he has, but Gimel insists that Kelsier needs to fight unless he wants to be taken again. Gimel asks if he wants vengeance, and Kelsier says he does, as he remembers the pain of seeing Mare die and his screams as he was reborn. He says he'll have vengeance his way, and Gimel questions what way is Kelsier's. Kelsier falters, feeling unsure for once, and Gimel states that he'll have Kelsier become a god, that he will kill now and waste his time with emotional allomancy some other time. Which, when Gimel says Kelsier will become a god, I just think of Mythic. He is a god!
Kelsier is a god.
That's what I was thinking too.
Not yet, apparently.
Yeah,
He's gonna become a god.
He
He's
literally
not currently.
became a god. He's an Aragorn. What's the word? An Agragor. He's an Agragor, just like Santa Claus.
He's a
When
cognitive shadow.
when somebody believes enough in a creature, it becomes something. So because they believe in him so much that he's a god, he became a god.
I mean, technically,
Is that
he's
a
a
proper
cognitive
term?
shadow.
Yeah, Aragorn. Or what's
That's what I was like assuming would happen to him.
Agragor? I'm pretty sure it's how it's spelled, or how it's said.
Agriculture.
Agriculture. He's the god of agriculture.
Yeah, it's EGREGORE.
You lost me at R.
Yeah, all right.
Anyways,
Agragor.
so Kelsier asks Gemmel how he seems to know about Kelsier's past, but Gemmel doesn't respond and instead tells Kelsier he should be burning his medals. Kelsier had tried to pretend that he grew up as a ska and wasn't used to wasting resources, but Gemmel had laughed at that. Kelsier wonders if he knows that Kelsier had grown up in noble society. He thinks that no matter how much he hates the nobles, he thinks that he belongs there just as much as he does with the ska. Gemmel prompts Kelsier to burn all 8 metals, which causes Kelsier to think about how useful copper is, even though most people don't think so. So were you surprised that Kelsier thinks, or at least he used to think, that he belonged in noble society?
I mean, everybody goes through existential crises eventually.
Yeah, that's true. I do it all the time, especially at night.
Okay. So Gemmel has them head out into the night, and Kelsier thinks about how he'd always felt connected to the mists, and that Marsh had also not been afraid of them. Once along the wall of Keep Shesler, Gemmel drops a coin and shoots up into the air, his mist cloak floating around him. When Kelsier had apparently asked for a mist cloak, Gemmel had just laughed at him. Kelsier then makes his way over to the coin and pushes himself upwards, awkwardly grabbing onto the top of the wall as he flies upwards. Coins suddenly shoot out at him, and Kelsier throws out his arms and pushes the coins away. Gemmel apparently often tried to attack him, and Kelsier wasn't sure if it was because he was testing Kelsier or actually trying to murder him. Gemmel grumbles to himself about how he likes this one and that he isn't strong enough yet, but he will learn. Kelsier also notes that the mists seem to stay away from Gemmel instead of swirling around him like they do with other allomancers. Gemmel then mentions that Kelsier doesn't need to throw out his hand to push and that it just wastes time. So what do you think about the mists not swirling around Gemmel? They kind of stay away from him.
Yeah, probably because he has a spike
No. He's just
or some kind of metal.
He's too powerful.
Okay.
Kelsier then asks Gemmel about what they are doing tonight, and Gemmel replies that they are infiltrating Keep Shesler, after going on a rant about how street kids use all the resources they can, that they would easily beat Kelsier up. When Kelsier asks what they're doing in the Keep, Gemmel replies that they need to find something important in there. This causes Kelsier to joke about what the meaning of life is, and Gemmel replies it's to die. Kelsier then wishes that he was back with his friends who understood humor. However, he felt he needed to stay away as he didn't want his friends to see him like he currently was. They leap across...
Crazy that he says his friends understand humor.
More than Gemmel does, at least.
I don't know. Still pretty crazy.
They leap around the building, and Kelsier finds that Gemmel looks almost regal and elegant as he moves using allomancy. Kelsier thinks that one day he'll be as good as Gemmel. He then pushes on a whole bag of coins to shoot up to the top of the tallest spire. Gemmel says it's good that he's becoming confident before knocking Kelsier off his feet and causing him to fall down into the mists, even pushing down on Kelsier's metal vials to shoot him down faster. Kelsier barely has time to push down on his vials to slow his fall just slightly before he hits the ground, his pewter mostly keeping him from breaking any bones. What did you think about Gemmel's random attacks on Kelsier to try and get him to learn Allomancy?
Kind of reminds me a lot of his regiment for Ven.
It's a pretty typical thing to do in most
Yep.
training things.
I think
most training arcs,
I don't know if you guys remember, but in the first book when he brings Vin outside of Luthadel for the first time, he tells her she has to jump up on the wall and then jump down. He has her jump down herself, and he's like, if I was my teacher, I would just push you. You're lucky I'm not like him, or something like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Very lucky.
Gemmel then explains that their goal is to get to the basement, and they had gone up high so that he could look for an entrance. Kelsier is surprised that he actually had a reasonable plan. Gemmel then sprays some coins at a few guards that had heard them, killing them before heading into a shed that reveals a staircase leading down. Kelsier pulls on the coins from the guards' bodies, having to duck as the coins hit the shed wall as he hadn't mastered how to pull more lightly so that he can catch them, causing Gemmel to give him a displeased look. Kelsier then uses the coins to bounce down the stairs so that he can see the steps without light, and also see where the bottom of the stairs are when they stop falling, which impresses Gemmel a little bit. Once at the bottom of the stairs, Kelsier opens a door to a room that has small smelting equipment from a master metallurgist. Gemmel wanders into the room and asks where a person is, not answering Kelsier when he asks who Gemmel is referring to. Kelsier then sneaks around the room and finds some bloodied people chained to a wall of a long room. Kelsier ungags one woman, but she doesn't give any helpful information, so he ungags another older woman who says that they're being experimented on to test new metals and have been beaten to try to awake allomantic abilities in them. Were you surprised to find random ska being experimented on to test new metals?
Not at all. They're pretty much cattle to these people, so.
I didn't expect the idea of that happening. I didn't expect it happening there. Did I say that right?
Yeah, I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I understand.
I said I didn't not expect that happening in general.
Yeah,
it was an expectable thing,
there.
but you just weren't maybe expecting it right at that moment.
Yeah,
Shush,
especially
Artemis.
like in this whole reading.
Yeah. Cat, shush.
I was focusing on that.
I know
in the background.
she's being.
I was like, what's happening?
She's just upset because Jesus' door is closed. Okay, stop.
Grab her, make her a special guest to the podcast.
So a nobleman's voice and asks what is going on, and Kelsier turns around to see a man in a suit. The man pushes a coin at Kelsier, and Kelsier pushes back on it, causing them both to fly backwards. The man drops any metal from his person and then pulls out a dueling cane. Kelsier then pulls on one of the apparatuses from a table, and Lord Shezler pushes it away, causing them both to fly backwards again. Shezler complains as some of his glass items break, and then pushes on the coins in Kelsier's pocket. Kelsier pushes on them as well to get them out of his pocket so they don't cut into his stomach, and also has to remove his coat that has buttons with metal leaf on them. He thinks that Gemmel was right that he wasn't thinking enough like an allomancer, as he hadn't even thought about his coat being an issue, and that they were likely here so that he could fight another Mistborn. Kelsier finds his anger being funneled into this fight against Lord Shezler as he grabs a piece of glass off the ground, since Gemmel hadn't given him any glass knives. Shezler tries to beat Kelsier away with his dueling cane, but Kelsier was burning pewter and was able to ignore the attacks as he stabs Shezler 3 times in the neck with the glass shard. Gemmel then comes over and says the fight was too quick and he'll find someone more practiced at fighting for Kelsier to fight next time. So were you surprised by how quickly Kelsier was able to kill Lord Shezler?
Not really.
No.
I mean, he's
Kelsier's isn't he
He's a god.
super no.
Yeah, he's a god.
Stab, stab. just angry stabbing.
I mean, grabbing the fucking the glass shard was cool.
Smart move. Remembering that apparently allomancers generally use glass daggers to fight.
Which why didn't he get provided any?
Because Gemmel is insane, and he doesn't give you a mistcloak. He doesn't give you any glass daggers. It's just figure shit out for yourself. So Kelsier then goes and frees the ska that had been chained up, and the older woman who had spoken to him earlier notes the scars on his arms, which had been revealed by him taking off his coat. Kelsier goes back over to Gemmel to see him looking at a book that has notes mentioning an 11th metal. Gemmel then drops the book and picks up a fork that Gemmel is very impressed by. It's a good fork, apparently.
I fucking that's my favorite part.
A lot of people mention the fork.
I fucking love that.
Kelsier takes the notebook and then herds the ska out of the keep grounds. Kelsier finds that he has his spark back and decides that he wants to find someone to make him a miscloak. What do you think about the origins of the rumors about the 11th metal?
I mean, it seems kind of reasonable that he would have believed it after, but
found some book all about it.
You know how I was talking about the card thing yesterday?
Oh yeah.
It was right before I read the fork thing, and then I was like, "What if we throw forks?"
It's a good fork. What did you think about the origins of the 11th metal mythic?
Wasn't super surprising to me, to be honest.
It was an interesting little story, though, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't super surprising. I was kind of,
Yeah, nice little look into early Mistborn Kelsier.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get into the real good story, Secret History.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Part 1,
Actual
Empire.
good story. Got it. The actual good story, yeah.
Honestly, this is like, I'm not sure if it's either my favorite or tied for my favorite of this book, or my top story in it. I really like Secret History.
Yeah, Secret History is really good.
Yeah, and you're like,
Yeah,
barely
especially
into
since
it.
I've already read all of it now.
I'm sure. Chapter 1 of Secret History, Part 1, Empire. Kelsier burns the 11th metal, and now sees 2 men standing before him instead of 1. The immortal emperor with 2 wooden spears sticking out of his chest, and the same man smiling and wearing furs. Kelsier wonders frantically if he can use this somehow, as the Lord Ruler tells him that inquisitors are hard to replace, as he glances at the head of one that is nailed to the bottom of a wagon by its own eye spikes. Kelsier thinks that the 11th metal wasn't a magical solution to kill the Lord Ruler, so he'd have to go with his other plan. So were you expecting this story to be in Kelsier's point of view?
Yes.
You're expecting a Kelsier story?
Yeah.
History,
Well, we kind of just got one. So.
Well, also the fact that you stated numerous times that I would enjoy this and that love that, and kind of hinted on the fact that it was going to be kind of what I was talking about. So I was
that you'd like
yeah,
it.
the midnight. You gotta stop ruining shit like that.
No.
I mean, it could have just had Kelsier, and it didn't have to be in his point of view.
That's true.
I mean, you uneventfully hinted at the fact that I was going to see a point of view of Kelsier basically watching the events happen.
I just said that it's a book that happens throughout spans the trilogy, and that I thought you would enjoy it.
And I would get to see Kelsier again.
I never said you'd get to see Kelsier. I just said I thought
Yes,
you'd enjoy the story.
You gave us all the spoilers.
Yeah, you always spoil everything.
No. Alright, Kelsier smiles and tells the Lord Ruler that he can't kill him because he is hope. The Lord Ruler just snorts, and Kelsier thinks...
No, you're not. You're not.
That shit had me so... Bro, half the shit that Kelsier does is literally what Spook would do.
It really
this
is.
whole time I was like, this is just like a grown-up Spook, because there's no fucking way.
Yeah, but also when he said I am hope, I'm like, no, you're not. That's Sazed.
No, it's Harmony.
Yeah, no, hope.
Okay. Kelsier thinks that he can't fight him while alive. Thinks to himself that he needs to stand tall and give the Ska something to remember.
God, I could only imagine if he said that out loud. I can't fight you while I'm alive. How are you gonna fight me while you're dead? What?
The Lord Ruler then backhands him, and Kelsier flares the 11th metal and briefly sees the Lord Ruler in a cavern with a glowing pool. Then Kelsier dies. Kelsier screams.
Just got bitch smacked.
Yeah, he did. He got bitch slapped to death. Kelsier screams.
That's the most embarrassing way to die.
She really is on the floor.
Pretty sure rips half his face off. They say too. Don't they say that in the first book? That
figured him in
face is gone.
I don't remember. I wanted to block that shit out because of how embarrassing it was.
Yeah, very embarrassing for him.
Kelsier screams as he's hurled into a world of shifting mist. He falls to his knees onto what just seems like mist, the ground being soft and rippling like liquid. As he glances up,
I'm just imagining him get bitch smacked, and in his perspective, he just gets hit, and then he just
into another dimension.
He's in the mist.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh my god!
Bitch slap so hard you end up in a different dimension, dude.
That's how powerful the Lord Ruler was.
Yeah. As he glances up, he sees everything as mist, although the mist makes shapes like hills. He also notices a tiny sun hidden behind clouds. Kelsier smiles as he realizes there is some sort of afterlife, and also wonders what that means about Mare. As Kelsier feels himself solidifying more, the mist seemed to become a bit more solid, and the shapes more visible. The hills were actually buildings, and he could even see the overturned wagon made of mist. Kelsier also notices that anything made of metal seems to glow. Some of the lights seem to be moving, and he notices that the lights are coming from within a human form, meaning that souls glow just like metal. So what do you think about
Interesting.
Yeah, so what do you think about the fact that souls glow like metal?
Interesting.
Do you have any thoughts, Darkness?
I didn't like that.
You didn't like that?
I mean, they're made of the same godly essence, so of course they're made of metal.
That's scary because the only feeling I got when he was like, "Oh, you gotta go to the other side or whatever, the beyond or whatever,"
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, they're about to get fucking eaten by some like ultra astronomical god, bro. They're gonna get consumed because they're like metal now."
Also, what are your first thoughts of this like mist realm with like the tiny sun hidden behind clouds?
This whole thing made me so nervous.
Feel
But
like
I
it's gonna
think
fall through.
I think I would be the runner because going beyond,
Yeah,
no,
I'd
thank
definitely be a
you.
runner. I'd definitely be a runner. Or I'd be the one that, like, kind of like Kelsier, I'd be challenging everything he said.
Did you punch God?
Like, but why does it have to? Yes. But why does it have to be like this? Like, what? Like, I'd be questioning everything.
I think I would definitely go to that pool.
You'd run to the well too.
Yeah, it could be like pool buddies.
Pool buddies. He was almost pool
Okay,
buddies with the Lord Ruler.
I definitely heard pole buddies, and I was like, "What's up?"
Oh, that too.
They're pole
You know,
dancing now in the well.
every Saturday.
Apparently, I mean, you know.
Kelsier notices that thousands of people were running away from the square and where the Lord Ruler stood. Kelsier tries to follow, but stumbles over his own misty corpse. He touches his corpse and feels warm memories briefly. Then Kelsier sees Vin run over to his corpse, and he cups her face, surprised he can touch her, as she cries. When he touches her, he can briefly see what she looks like in the real world, in color and not just made of mist. He then sees Ham come to grab Vin. Suddenly, a voice from behind him says, "You let him kill you." He turns to see not a person made of mist, but a normal person wearing strange clothing and a bone-handled knife tied to his belt. He also has black hair and a prominent nose. Kelsier asks who the man is, and the man just replies that Kelsier knows. When Kelsier looks into the man's eyes, he sees a calm, cool eternity, and realizes that the man is God. When the man confirms that there is a God, Kelsier punches him. God doesn't dodge and is knocked to the ground, looking shocked but not in pain. So what were your first impressions of Preservation coming up to Kelsier?
I didn't like him. I didn't like him at all.
I fucking love them.
I keep imagining him as very Scottish because he's wearing like this like skirt kind of thing. It reminds me of like a Scottish outfit.
You mean a kilt? You mean a kilt?
Yeah, but
it's not a skirt. It's not a skirt. I swear to God, get in the comments. Get in the comments.
I know
okay?
it's a kilt, but like they describe it. They don't call it a kilt in the book. They say it's a skirt.
I know, because it's not a kilt in the book.
I'm saying it looks like it reminds me of a kilt though. Like it reminds me of like this like a traditional Scottish attire.
It reminds me more of like a Spartan Greek mix of like clothing.
Toga.
Because from
toga.
Yeah, kind of like that.
That's what I pictured. In all honesty. What's the toga?
Also, when fucking Kelsier, when he like did the fist again and
I'm gonna punch him again.
Yeah, and then he reached for his knife like nervously, bro. I was dying.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, it made me think: can they die in this world?
I think it was just his personality, but I think it was like, oh fuck, not again.
Oh god, I gotta get my knife to stab this person.
He's crazy.
Kind of wonder what would happen though. You know?
Yeah, but like I want to know if like him stabbing him is gonna do something.
Yeah, right.
So Kelsier then angrily asks why God is letting this happen, and then sees God unravel slightly, pulling away like mist as he stutters that he is doing what he can and that things are in motion. He recoils as God fully pulls apart and then comes back together. Suddenly, other people begin to come into the mist world, and a version of the same man appears before each of them and speaks to them. God mentions that no one has hit him before, and when Kelsier brings up his fist again, God reaches for his knife. Kelsier then sees a Ska woman come into the world and immediately stretch off into nothing. Then the others also stretch out towards some distant point and fade away. Kelsier asks what is happening, and God explains that this is just the in-between place, not the beyond. Beyond is capitalized, by the way, Mythic. He also says that Alamancers take longer to go to the beyond, and that he comes to comfort people as they move on. Kelsier mentions Mare, and God replies that she went to the beyond just as he will. But Kelsier thinks he can't yet, and states that he needs a plan to get him out of this. He also notices that his arms are starting to blur. So what do you think about the beyond and how Preservation makes sure to greet each soul before they move on?
There was another name for the beyond there, right?
Later on, he tells him how it's called the spiritual realm. The beyond is the spiritual realm.
There's a different one.
He calls it something else, but I don't think like it's the actual name. He just kind of says like he's just trying to explain.
It's capitalized, I thought.
Yeah, I think he's just giving like other names that like people use for it.
Yeah, but like, what if they mention that name in other books and stuff?
Purgatory, right?
No, they don't call it Purgatory. He's talking about like the beyond,
like
not the
long ass
in-between.
fucking name.
The somewhere else he calls it.
Yes, there you go. You want to meet me in this somewhere else?
But yes, but what do you think about how preservation makes sure to greet people before they go to the beyond? Goes around and talks to each of them.
And separating his consciousness to talk to a bunch of other people.
He's taking his role as God very seriously.
He does.
Apparently.
He takes it very seriously. Well, because he's the one who wanted to make people. Remember, he was the one who like convinced Ruin
What
to create people.
what would happen if he just lets them be though? Like if he doesn't talk to them.
They would still move on to the beyond. He says he tells Kelsier specifically that he's not the one who makes them go to the beyond. He just likes to comfort them before they move to the beyond.
So he's wasting all that energy on comforting people that
Yes, exactly.
could
That's what
have
I'm
just
saying.
been like spending his energy
This man
to
could be
like.
saving his energy to fight Ruin.
He
Yeah.
likes to do
But
it. He likes to talk to
Instead,
people.
he
His
chose
children.
to talk to a bunch of people.
It's his
Like I like
children.
him, and that's kind of like I guess, yay, good people, all that shit. But like, you're fighting a war.
I mean, Ruin's
And
still locked
losing.
away at this point.
They've been fighting a war for
You're
the past
fighting a
fucking
war
millennia.
and losing.
He
It's
literally
not-
went, oh, like this can't be like my final fucking like
Plan, yeah.
plan or whatever. And yet he's spending his like fucking energy on little fucking shadow clones. Like
Shadow clone jutsu.
Not wrong. He's spending his energy on these, other versions of himself to comfort people in death.
especially
moments.
Ska of all things.
Wow.
Oh my god! I knew that. I honestly knew that was gonna come up eventually, but
Damn.
I knew Darkness was gonna make that comment.
Like it would be fine if it was just Lord Ruler and like Kelsey.
Oh my god!
Just the important people.
Yeah.
So Kelsier begins to walk and asks if anyone has resisted being pulled into the beyond before, to which God replies no, they have not. God's body pulls apart and then back together again, and Kelsier thinks that God himself looks one step away from falling apart. He also then nicknames God Fuzz, and says that he is now a crew member.
Best name ever.
Fuzz. He's now a crew member, and even though he'd rather have Nox with him. Fuzz tries to speak, but Kelsier stops him and says if he wants to comfort him, and that if
I like how now even in your notes you wrote him as Fuzz.
I do.
Like
I
he's
wrote-
no longer Preservation.
Yeah, no, he's
Fuzz.
he's Fuzz currently. Yeah, I wrote him as Fuzz. That's what Kelsier calls him. Yeah, but he says that if nothing he does will matter, then just humor him until he moves to the beyond. Fuzz sighs and says it would be better if Kelsier just accepted what was happening, and that he's a very strange man. Kelsier replies
I agree.
Kelsier replies that compared to his friends, he's actually normal.
No.
So what did you think about Fuzz? The fact that he's like pulling apart and coming back together repeatedly.
I mean, he's going crazy. I'm surprised Ruin hasn't taken control of him yet.
That would be funny.
It wouldn't.
Do you have any thoughts about it, Darkness? About Fuzz?
I mean, like it makes sense with the fucking amount of energy he's spending for no fucking reason.
Exactly.
So Kelsier continues to walk through the misty world and says he needs ideas, and notes that Fuzz isn't drawn into the beyond, which Fuzz replies it's because he is a god. Kelsier notes that Fuzz says a god and not just god, meaning there are more than one.
Yep. I caught the same thing right before it said it in the book. I was like, oh.
He also gets out of Fuzz that not just Allomancers but also Ferrochemists last longer in this in-between space, meaning that it's people of power and not just random Allomancers. Kelsier then asks about the Lord Ruler, and Fuzz says that he has ways of not dying in the first place.
I love that. I love his infatuation with fucking
He loves
Rashek.
he has a huge crush on the Lord Ruler, honestly.
Oh my god.
I feel like
I just love that when Rashek then dies and he's like, he comes in, he's just like, oh
Just
hi,
ignored.
oh my god,
Just-
his infatuation with Rashek is
he's
insane.
so
You see-
disappointed.
I know. This would be a love fucking square.
He's like
If I were there, I'm just saying.
he preserves himself. He's so amazing. Look at how he doesn't die.
But he's dead, so.
Yeah, preserve those sirens in the background.
Sorry. Yeah, so Fuzz also says that the Lord Ruler lasts much longer than most Allomancers here, as he has ascended and expanded his soul. So what do you think about Allomancers and Ferrochemists lasting longer in this in-between space before moving on to the Beyond?
Makes sense.
What about
They're powerful.
Hemorrhages?
They're gods.
Well, Kelsier
They're
doesn't
not
ask about Hemolurgist, but we can assume that
But they're-
Hemolurgist also would.
I don't think Hemolurgist would do though.
You don't think so?
No, because I don't think you bring your spikes with you.
So you
So all
think
their power
because
would
of
be gone.
that?
Like, there's no power left.
Also, what do you think about Preservation saying that the Lord Ruler has expanded his soul?
He added more power to it, so it makes sense.
Now Darkness has scar alarms going off.
You know, everybody
I do?
but me, you know.
Yeah, I heard a car alarm in the
Yeah.
background, Darkness.
Yeah, I heard car alarms in the background. Yeah.
What the fuck? I didn't hear shit.
You obviously got
That's
some
'cause
good
you're
noise-canceling
desensitized.
headphones.
That's because you're desensitized to it.
That's true.
Just used to it.
Happens every day around your neighborhood, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
You know, all them gang fights and
Oh
shit.
god.
legit. I think somebody got stabbed again,
Oh my
like
god.
right outside.
Hey, told you.
Jesus Christ.
Gang
Anyways,
fights.
Fuzzin seems to forget what they were talking about for a moment, and Kelsier has to remind him.
The senile man.
Fuzzin goes on to talk excitedly about how the Lord Ruler is preserved, and that he is glad that Kelsier wasn't able to kill him. He also calls him brilliant, although mentions that he doesn't agree with what he does. Kelsier asks why Fuzz doesn't do anything about him if he doesn't agree with him. But Fuzz replies that they would just bring a new tyrant and cause more chaos, and that it's better to have a stable leader. So what do you think about how much Fuzz seems to like the Lord Ruler?
Fucking
You know?
Jesus.
Oh, well, obviously we know Mythic doesn't like him doing that, but
Get a fucking room, bro.
you know what? We will. Now,
Oh gosh.
I bet you will.
I don't know if the Lord Ruler would be into it.
the Lord Ruler?
You're
No,
gonna-
it's fine.
you-
He'll be into it. We could do some like ska roleplay.
Oh god.
Are you gonna be the ska?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Darkness has a death fetish.
Oh god. Let's move on.
It depends how I'm feeling.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Good. I'm so glad.
No.
So Kelsier then tries to prompt Fuzz more about expanding one's soul, asking if he'd like to see another person do that. However, Fuzz replies that's impossible because the power at the Well of Ascension won't be ready for another year. Kelsier begins to search his mind for memories of religion that Sage had taught him and thinks that he feels like a child with all that's going on in the background while he was worried about rebellions. As he is thinking, Fuzz is rambling on about how he failed to lock him away as he is stronger and is leaking out in natural forms of gas, liquid, and solids. He also wonders if he has outthought him. So what do you think about Ruin leaking out of his prison?
I mean,
Why
why
are all
that
the-
happen?
Why are all these gods leaking?
Because they're moist.
Ew,
God.
don't say that.
Yeah, we got a bunch of moist
Ugh.
gods.
So Kelsier brings up the Well of Ascension again, and Fuzz lies badly about how far away the well is. He's like, yes, so far away. Kelsier grabs Fuzz by the shoulders and begs him to tell him where it is. Fuzz, however, says no, and that if he touched it, he might add to his power. Kelsier thinks he's going to have to con Fuzz then. Kelsier pretends to grow tired and sits down against one of the misty buildings, pretending to accept his fate. He asks about what Fuzz had first asked him, and Fuzz repeats his question about Kelsier letting the Lord Ruler kill him. Kelsier replies that he couldn't have gotten away once the Lord Ruler was there, and that he had tried to use the 11th metal, which Fuzz calls foolish and says with Ruin's influence on him. He also compliments Kelsier on killing an Inquisitor, although also says that he wishes Kelsier hadn't caused so much destruction. Kelsier then mentions that he was, what he saw
Yeah, you know, when he used that Electrum, you know.
Kelsier then mentions that what he saw when flaring the 11th metal. Fuzz replies that Kelsier caught a glimpse of the spiritual realm and his connection, capital C, to the past, while using Atti's essence. He says he says that you shouldn't trust it even in diluted forms. So what do you think? Why do you think connection is capitalized here?
It's probably
I don't know,
something that
I see it,
ties their
so.
soul, like
And
to
see
their
it, so I don't
past,
know.
to their place of origin.
Mm-hmm. Also, you guys probably connected this, but Atti is the name of Ruin's vessel, the person who is in control of Ruin's shard, which is why Atium is called Atium, because it's his name plus It is Atti's metal.
Atium.
Atium. It's
Yeah, it's not
metal.
Atium, it's
Atium.
Atium.
Yeah.
Atium.
Can you guess what Preservation's
what are
name
you
is?
No, because I don't even remember what the fuck the shit was called anymore.
I think it comes up later.
I didn't write it down because I didn't. After I've kind of lost track on my my chart. So
The
Can
other
you
metal is
not
called
just-
Larasium.
What the?
so it's Lars got it.
Laris. His name's Laris.
It's Lars got it.
So Kelsier mentions that Fuzz said there was another god and that he trapped him. Fuzz replies that he will break free eventually, but that it can't be his last gambit. Kelsier can feel himself fading and mentions that the well was in a high mountain, and Fuzz replies that is where he put it. So apparently Fuzz was able to choose where the well was. Past. Kelsier then says that the Lord Ruler moved it, which Fuzz agrees with. Kelsier thinks about where he would hide it, and in his vision he had seen the Lord Ruler in a building inside a building, past an Inquisitor. His eyes snap open and he gets up and begins running. Fuzz appears beside Kelsier and says that running won't accomplish
he's a runner.
anything. Yeah.
He's a runner.
He's a runner after all. So what did you think
Yeah.
about Kelsier's con to get information out of Fuzz about how to
Pretty good.
preserve himself?
Even in death,
I
he's
felt-
still a god.
I I felt so bad for him, for Fuzz.
Fuzz was like, what the fuck, dude? So yeah, Kelsier uses all of his concentration on remaining himself and running towards a pulsing that he feels. He runs through buildings and men, not stopping, as he heads towards Critic-Shaw. Fuzz calls him a zinc-tongued raven as he realizes where Kelsier is going, that he won't reach it in time. He can see the light from the well, but soon he can move no more, and he just says please. Kelsier asks Fuzz if he wants to see something spectacular, that he can show him something spectacular. Fuzz wavers, and then, in Kelsier's head, says for Kelsier to be preserved. He then shoves Kelsier into the light. Kelsier wakes up inside the light of liquid metal, fully formed again. He can make out a misty cavern around him. Fuzz then tells him that he is part of the power now. He also says that he's now trapped in the power as well, but Kelsier just replies that he is alive at least, and that will do. So were you surprised that Fuzz agreed to push Kelsier into the well to expand his soul?
He agreed?
Yeah,
I don't
'cause-
remember him agreeing.
He
I thought he
did.
just
He
did
pushed
it.
him in.
yeah, he's the one who pushed him in. Kelsier couldn't make it on his own.
I didn't remember him agreeing. I thought Kelsier conned him into doing it.
No, he basically said like begged him to like push him in, and Fuzz was like, okay, be preserved, and pushes him in.
Be preserved. He
I
puts
do
him in the
remember
jar.
that. Yeah, I do remember the be preserved part. So
Yeah. No,
be
he
preserved.
agreed to it eventually. He's like, fuck it. Fuck it,
Fuck
be
it,
preserved,
let me-
Kelsier.
What could go wrong?
It's-
It's not like I've already, pretty much freed my brother by being a dumbass.
I don't think they're brothers.
I know.
Yeah, they're lovers.
A lot.
totally
It's a big. There's no confirmation, but there's a lot of people whose
That ship
headcanon
them.
is that they were actually lovers, and that's why
Yeah,
they went
they
to a
ship them.
planet together.
That hurts my heart. Why would they do that?
Yeah, it's like tattooing their names on each other. God damn.
And then Ashi went crazy because he had the shard of ruin in him, and then
No, it's because fucking preservation over here
Wait,
keeps
does
crushing
fucking?
on other fucking people. Do you think that Atti's not gonna be fucking jealous? Like, what is he supposed to do?
no wonder Addie
Oh.
wanted to kill the Lord Ruler so badly.
Yeah, like, man's went to a whole different planet with this dude, and he's not even getting attention.
Well, damn.
Chapter 2. Kelsier thinks that immortality, if he's actually immortal, as he isn't sure, is much more frustrating than anticipated. He noticed that God was right about the well being a prison, but luckily it wasn't deeper than he was tall, other than in the center, so he could move around the perimeter easily. He also noted that the stone up to the edge of the well seemed to be more solid and less mist than the rest of the room. He could sit on the edge of the well, but was unable to walk more than a few feet away from it. So what were your first thoughts when you learned that Kelsier was fucking trapped in the well?
Once again, Kelsier is a god.
It's just,
Kelsey's he's something else.
Kelsier's a fucking prisoner.
He's always been a prisoner, though.
He's used
Like,
to
he
it,
just
you know.
Yeah, he just likes it at this point. It's like a fetish or something.
Oh god.
Oh my god, that's what he would do with the Lord Ruler.
Oh my god. After a few hours of trying to escape, he sits down to think. Buzz had left soon
Fuck
after
me
he'd
away, Daddy.
gotten trapped here, which left Kelsier alone in the stone room with just the well and a couple bits of glowing metal off to one end of the cavern that he couldn't reach. He wonders if he'll be stuck here for eternity, and also can't
Yes.
help but worry about his plan for the rebellion and what all could go wrong with it. After a bit of time, some Inquisitors show up, dragging the headless body of the Inquisitor Kelsier had killed. One of the Inquisitors was also carrying the spikes of the dead Inquisitor in a jar of liquid. Buzz suddenly appears and states that the spikes are in blood, as it keeps the spikes from losing their effectiveness.
So cool. Fucking metal as fuck. Holy shit.
Literally.
Get it?
Literally
Metal.
metal.
Yeah, no, that's why I said it that way.
Yeah. Buzz also says that he doubts they know what they are doing, as tossing a body into the well is meaningless. The Inquisitors throw both the body and the head into the well, which quickly disappear. So why do you think the Inquisitors throw dead Inquisitors into the well?
Maybe they're trying to refill the power. So you remember that? Okay, you remember that like fucking pool over there in Atlantis or whatever?
Yeah.
Is that just another well of ascension, but like there?
We're gonna get to
You could have just said yes.
what the wells are. It is. It's the exact same thing.
Okay.
It is one of the two gods'.
I didn't take very
Powers.
much. That didn't take much convincing there, Darkness.
I mean, I was
just
as I
gave
said,
it
I was
away,
gonna go
man.
into that more when we get to when he explains
Just gave it away.
perpendicularities.
To be fair, it's kind of obvious now.
Yeah.
So
It's always been obvious.
especially since like they literally just dissolved the body into the fucking pool. Like,
What do you think happens to a body when it gets dissolved in the pool?
More power.
I wonder, based on what happens with Cephandrius.
I don't remember what happens in Elantris.
No, not in Elantris.
Oh, with Levandrius.
The Drifter.
Oh,
Yeah.
What does
With
he do
Mr.
with the well?
Fuzz. With Mr. Fuzz.
don't say that. I know.
We'll get to it when we talk more about perpendicularities in a few
Okay.
minutes here. Kelsier then asks Fuzz how his plan is going, and says that Fuzz needs to nudge them to move forward with the plan. Fuzz unravels for a moment and mutters about how he had a plan when he was smarter. Kelsier continues to try and prompt Fuzz about the Ska revolting and taking down the Lord Ruler, but Fuzz seems distracted and mentions that Ruin is killing him before shouting out to Ruin that he isn't dead yet. Kelsier thinks that God is going insane.
Not dead yet.
Fuzz then
You
continues
can't divorce me yet.
Fuzz then continues to ramble, talking about how Ruin had been changing what he writes and making their religion all about him. He then goes to Kelsier and says he needs a sign, maybe the boiling or freezing point of water, but then worries that measurements can change. He then tells Kelsier the number 16 and how it is the number of elementic metals. Kelsier says there are only 11, but Fuzz insists that there are 16 as it is a perfect number. So we kind of learned a bit about Preservation's 16 plan in Hero of Ages, but what do you think about the fact that he's just like, oh yes, they will obviously know what 16 means, right? Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Sense to a god, you know.
Kelsier's like, the fuck are you talking about? What does 16 mean?
No.
He's like, 16! Don't you understand? It's 16!
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, dude.
That's when
Perfect
Ruin
number.
proposed.
Yeah, so Mythic, you've
16.
gotten confirmation from a god. There are 16 metals.
Yep. I told you. I called this in the very beginning.
I mean, you also said there was 24 and then 48.
No, I said that there could be. If you keep going down the, each one has its partner, then, if you hit 16 and then had a 17th metal, there'd have to be an 18th metal and vice versa and continue down the line.
I do remember that you having a list of fucking 50 metals at one point.
I just put a whole bunch of all the metals that would exist in life, and then I've narrowed them down, and I narrowed them down to 18, I think.
Mhm.
And then 2 of them kind of got debunked immediately because silver got removed off of it.
Yes.
I don't remember what the other one was. So
I don't remember what your other one was.
yeah, but still, I remember silver was in on there. I was like, God damn, silver would have been such a cool fucking thing to have as a metal. God
No
damn.
silver.
Yeah. Was it bronze? No, bronze is the thing.
Bronze is one.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Was
I
it
don't
not
remember.
aluminum?
It's just
Aluminum is one.
no, aluminum is one too. Yeah.
Yeah. So suddenly Fuzz looks up at the ceiling and asks Kelsier what he has done. He then repeats the phrase, screaming it this time. Kelsier smiles and says he had hoped. Fuzz says that he was perfect and then turns as the Lord Ruler's spirit enters the room. What do you think about how upset Fuzz was about the Lord Ruler being killed?
Well, his prized possession just kind of died.
Exactly. I mean, his lover, the one that he wanted, he's been fantasizing about forever.
His favorite child, the golden child, has died.
I don't know. I don't think he really looks at him like a child, but he says that, but I don't think that's how he actually treats it. It's more like a crush.
The big age gap between them.
And when has that ever stopped anyone?
To be fair,
age is but a number.
would it matter if he became a god? Yeah, think about it. In
they live forever.
Not only that, but in history of almost every religion, where gods actually take mortal lovers. Can you think of how old they are compared to the people they are with?
So Kelsier stands up and the Lord Ruler looks at him, saying he killed him twice. Kelsier says that he is glad he sees how incompetent he is, and that's the first step towards change. Lord Ruler just sniffs before glancing around the room, barely even acknowledging Fuzz. Lord Ruler then tells Kelsier that he did kill him. Kelsier replies that he technically killed the Lord Ruler because he forged the blade that did it in the end.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I am hope.
That would be like anyone who a bladesmith. You watch a samurai walk out there and murder a bunch of people, and then the cops go to the bladesmith and go, "Hey, your sword is the reason that they're all dead, so you're in jail."
Well, if the Lord Ruler is the ruler there, I wouldn't be surprised if he did that.
Fuzz then begins to start his speech to the Lord Ruler about helping with his transition, but the Lord Ruler just tells him to be quiet. He then tells Kelsier that he brought ruin upon this world and that he was so close with only a year left. Fuzz continues to prattle on, and Kelsier catches that he calls him Rashek, which causes Kelsier to make the connection to what he saw with the 11th metal. Kelsier states that his powers were just trickery and that he healed using feruchemy, and he asks how Rashek became an Allomancer. Rashek just ignores him and sticks his hand into the light. So what do you think of the Lord Ruler and Kelsier's interaction here?
Pretty much how I figured it would be. I just thought the Lord Ruler would stick around a little longer, and watch his creation die, watch his empire fall.
The Lord Ruler reminds me of someone, and I was gonna say that somewhere, but I can't remember. It's funny how he would rather move to the beyond than be with them, though.
He's like, yeah, fuck this bullshit.
Yeah, I've lived long enough. Fuck this shit.
Kelsier worries that he's going to be stuck with the Lord Ruler for eternity, but the Lord Ruler just says that he doesn't want to be stuck with a rat like Kelsier and an impotent mouse like Fuzz, and then stretches into the beyond.
Impotent mouse.
Impotent. Kelsier is shocked. Kelsier is shocked that he just left, and Fuzz confirms that he went to the beyond and seems sad, as Atty had told him nothing would remain forever. Fuzz also tells Kelsier that rational people want to move on, before vanishing. So did you expect the Lord Ruler to move on to the beyond so quickly?
No, not at all. Like I said, I expected him
to I wouldn't be surprised. So.
He's like, yeah, I'm not sticking with this asshole.
He literally killed him twice, and he's still there. That would annoy the fuck out of me. Just fucking stay dead.
Stay dead, damn it.
Kelsier then sits down on the edge of the well, wishing for some sort of celebration or confirmation of something. However, nothing happens, and he just sits, wondering about what is happening in the city. And then we get part 2. Well, chapter 1.
Well.
As the days pass, Kelsier wishes for something to write on and with. He's unable to scratch notes into the side of the well or use thread from his clothing, as it just reforms as part of his shirt. Fuzz had at one point appeared and let Kelsier know that his clothing technically wasn't real and was just part of his soul. During his second month of imprisonment, he figures that writing isn't all that important, as he'd been able to come up with a plan for escape in the pits without being able to write anything down. Kelsier also notes that Fuzz had called him a cognitive shadow, a force of mind keeping his spirit together. So what do you think about Kelsier being a cognitive shadow?
I guess there has to be more people like him.
Yeah, that was gonna be my other question. Do you think we're gonna meet other cognitive shadows? Because if there's a term for it, it means Kelsier's not the only one, right?
Which is crazy, because I guess it's the force of fucking the will, to stay there.
Yep. Some people are just stubborn,
Also, but yeah, do you think we're gonna meet other cognitive shadows in other books?
Yeah, 100%. I kind of want to meet this guy who got away.
The one that got away?
That dude was the coolest fucking thing ever.
I didn't like him.
I loved him. The moment he showed up, I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Did you not realize who he was?
No, I didn't.
Darkness, you know who the Drifter is, right?
Oh, wait. Yeah, I do know who the Drifter is. Never mind. But
I was like, you should know who the Drifter is.
Yeah.
Didn't we get a time where we got that name? That name was mentioned in general?
What, his other name, Saphandrius?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the name that the name that they gave him wasn't the Drifter.
Yeah, they call him either Drifter or Saphandrius here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you should know who he is. We'll get there. So while in the well,
I just want a whole book about him, though.
Yeah.
Just
we'll probably get one.
While in the well, he had also been hearing whispers in the pulses that the well was sending out into the world. Although he called it whispers, it was actually both sound, sense, and images that he could see and hear from the pulses. He sees a group of terracemen and potentially Sazed as the pulses whisper about the announcer and world bringers and the hero of ages. Kelsier also finds that if he submerges himself in the center of the well just before a pulse, he can ride it a ways and see the destination of the pulse. Through the pulses, he saw terracemen memorizing stories, madmen mumbling the words of the pulses, and a Mistborn jumping around buildings. He then tries going further into the well during one of the pulses instead of riding it out, and sees a vast force of destruction and decay. It was the ultimate end of all things, and it was angry. Kelsier throws himself out of the well, gasping and trembling.
Okay.
He tried to ignore the thing in the well, but knows that he could never ignore a secret. Thus, he continues going back to stare at the thing in the well. So what do you think about the fact that Kelsier can see what Rune is looking at through these pulses?
Kind of cool, to be honest.
They're sharing a home. They're roommates.
They are roommates.
Yeah.
Cellmates.
Does that mean that when... No, obviously not. When the lock is broken... I don't know. When the lock is broken, maybe then... Kelsier will also get it. Yeah, Kelsier will also get it.
That's one of my overview questions. Is we'll get to that later.
Oh my god.
What you think's gonna happen when been
I don't know
freeze
why we
ruin.
come up with better questions than her.
You're coming up with the same questions, not better questions.
No, better questions.
Anyways, for weeks Kelsier looked at Ruin, until one day it noticed him. Kelsier flees back to the edge of the well and waits for months for Fuzz to come back and check in on him. When Fuzz does appear, he has a small hole in his cheek, and he seems to be unraveling more. He tries to speak to Fuzz, but is ignored, as Fuzz just paces. Fuzz eventually glances at Kelsier, and Kelsier sees into eternity again, as he also notices that beneath Fuzz's unraveling skin, his skeleton is also unraveling into mist. Fuzz then leaves. What do you think about Fuzz's body deteriorating more and more?
He's losing his grip on reality.
Looks like he's not getting preserved any longer.
Ah! That was good, Darkness. That was good. No more preservation of preservation.
Many more months pass, and Kelsier begins talking to himself, saying he freed mankind, but worrying about being a pawn of ruin. He regains hold of his sanity and worries about himself, although he also thinks that he hasn't been completely sane since his time in the pits. Suddenly a voice says that he did not expect this. Kelsier turns to see a man with stark white hair, an angular face, and a sharp nose in the cavern. He seems familiar to Kelsier, but he can't quite place where he knows him from. The man is sitting on some sort of log that is floating in the mists, and he holds an oar in one hand. The man tells Kelsier that he is very bad at doing what he is supposed to. Kelsier asks who he is and whether he is a spirit, but the man says death never really suited him, and gives Kelsier a knowing smile, which makes Kelsier immediately hate the man.
And I immediately loved him.
So yeah, did you guys realize right away who he was, or did it take you a little bit to figure out?
Took me a bit. It took me a bit.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you guys didn't recognize Hoyd?
No.
He looked uglier now. So.
First off, he doesn't even go by that name. Okay?
I mean, he just doesn't tell Kelsier a name.
He doesn't go by that name.
He told Kelsier his name was Hoyd in the first book.
Yeah, but
He goes by the
I'm
name of the
talking
third
about
book.
in this. He didn't even. He wasn't like, hey, by the way, I already met you once. You know.
Yeah,
None
no,
of that
he doesn't tell Kelsier
just-
who he is.
Yeah, he just straight up was like, hi, bye.
I'm gonna murder you.
Well, Kelsier says that. I'm gonna murder you.
Yep.
That shit was fucking funny, bro.
So
my god.
the man says that getting stuck in Addie's prison is fitting recompense for destroying the pits, as it was the only perpendicularity with any reasonable ease of access. He then says that this perpendicularity is very dangerous, and that Kelsier upended an entire mercantile ecosystem by destroying the other one. So what do you think that it means that both the pits and the well are perpendicularities?
The pits.
Yeah, the pits of Hassan
Mm-hmm.
are the other perpendicularity. What does that mean, Darkness? What you've been asking about for months. Where's the other lake?
Yeah, but like we didn't ever see that, huh?
No, you don't see it. It's beneath the pits. That is where the other lake
Interesting.
is.
Like, stupid place to hide it, to be honest.
It's kind of smart though,
And
cause
that's why the pits are the only place that Atium forms.
and also like it was hidden throughout like.
So wait,
the
why
whole
doesn't the other metal, the one that makes people Mistborn, form at the other well then?
I'm assuming it's probably due to the fact that preservation's like dying. They don't really fully explain why like more of the metal isn't being formed, unless like the Lord Ruler has been hiding it or something. But
I feel
there's
like they
only
would
the
have found that though.
there's only the two pieces.
Could you just imagine though, like the amount of ATM and the amount of that being the same? They'd have like shitloads of Mistborns.
Pretty much everyone would be a Mistborn.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
great, honestly.
But yeah, that's where your metal lake has been this whole time, Darkness. It's been below the pits
Whole
pass and
time
pretty
You
close
know, I was
to where
gonna
the
ask you
Conjurer are.
about it.
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
That this is the brief mention of where the other lake was. Is it's been hidden, which is why you never see it again. Is the Lord Ruler didn't just move the well, but he also moved Ruin's perpendicularity.
Why hide it there? Isn't that the same place that the fucking
ATM?
No, not the ATM.
The
what are they
Conjurer
called?
live there. They live
Thank you, Conjurer.
they live
yeah.
in the same cave system, yeah.
I'm assuming it would be like hell of a lot lower though. Right? Right? Like it would be lower.
I don't know how the cave system works, but it's basically like really far underground, I believe.
Secret tunnel.
Also, they do
I
also
am a
mention
dwarf and
that
I'm
like
digging a hole.
they also mention that a lot of people die down in the pits and like you never find their bodies.
Oh.
I wonder if they
God.
end up in the fucking perpendicularity. That's why you never find their bodies again.
And they get fucking.
They went too
they're
far
in a different
down.
world. They're like, where am I?
But yeah, so he also says here that Kelsier upended an entire mercantile ecosystem by destroying the pits. So he's basically implying here that there's like other people traveling through the perpendicularity at the pits, and that like because Kelsier fucked it up, people can't really travel through there anymore.
Great job.
To be honest.
So yeah, most
Poor gods. They can't go through their fucking wormholes.
So that's how Hoid got to Scadrial, is through Atti's perpendicularity.
Also,
why did he just go through? I guess he is now going through.
Yeah, he says it's very, very dangerous because Ruin has been trapped here. That's why no one uses this one.
Wait, what does happen if like one of the gods?
It's also hidden under the Lord Ruler's castle, which also makes it very difficult to go in and out of.
And the gods from this world travel to different worlds?
Yeah.
Like through the portals?
Yeah, probably. They could probably do so if they were powerful enough. But they kind of are stopping each other, I would assume.
What are they going together, hand in hand? Another honeymoon?
I feel like they did that already, and that's what, we're reading. An entire story of them hand in hand and how it went bad.
You see? This is why you shouldn't get married at 16.
I mean, I could see another also ridiculous.
So Kelsier asks who the man is, and he calls himself a drifter, a miscreant, and the flame's last breath. Kelsier says that he's being obtuse. And the man says he is mostly that as well.
Yeah.
The man then says if he was dead, he wouldn't need the thing that he was floating on, which Kelsier soon realizes is a body. The man explains that it's a spirit, and he named it Spanky, and it's hard to travel the sub-astral without slipping through the mists. Kelsier calls it horrible, and the man replies that he's only got one body, whereas Kelsier used many more for his revolution. Something here from the well. So at the start, like at this point, what did you think the Drifter wanted from the well? What did you think his point of being there was?
Power. Yeah, I was gonna say to collect the power. But why does Spanky sound familiar to me?
Does it?
I don't know why. I feel like I've heard someone name something like that before.
Man, I just wish this Drifter would have walked through the portal with the fucking special sword, I'd love to see Nightblood again.
Kelsier asks them if the man can help him with his predicament, but the man replies that Kelsier's case is hopeless, and then continues to mention that by a hopeless case he means he's stuck with Kelsier's face. Kelsier calls him a bastard, and the man replies that only one of them in the room is illegitimate, and it isn't him, unless Spanky's also a bastard. The corpse then mumbles something, and the man replies that he is surprised to hear that the man had happily married and still alive parents. Kelsier then says that the bastard by birth is better than the one by choice. The man then asks Kelsier if he is more Ska or noble, and Kelsier replies that he is more inclined towards the Ska side. However, the man replies that he didn't ask which side Kelsier liked better, but which side was more him. The man then applies something glowing to his oar and to the body, trying not to let Kelsier see what he's doing and covering it with a cough. The man then begins scooting his vessel closer to the well as he mentions having an insult battle when Kelsier asks about getting out of the well. Do you think Kelsier is more of a nobleman or a Ska?
Nobleman.
Yeah. He just doesn't realize it.
He just doesn't want to admit it.
I mean, sometimes you hate the things that you're, more like, so.
Kelsier quickly notes that the man wants to jump into the well for some reason, as the man continues to mention how people want to slit their wrists and drown themselves to get away from Kelsier. Kelsier just replies that he's going to kill the man, which causes the man to sputter in surprise. Kelsier replies that he is going to murder the man if he goes into the well by slowly choking him and forcing his middle finger down his throat after removing it from his hand. The Drifter just
I'm telling you, when they have the whole Battle Royale thing, he is straight up going to try to kill Hoid.
The Drifter.
The thing is,
go ahead.
I don't think Hoid would be part of the battles. I think he would be
I think he'll be up there in like the stands.
Yeah, spectating.
And Kelsier is gonna be like,
"Oh my God,
I'll murder all of these people, all these other people, and then I'm coming for you." And he's gonna.
What if he's the announcer?
Oh God.
Oh my God.
No, that's Sage's job.
Yeah.
No.
We've already established that Sage is.
Sage is a sponsor. This is the Hunger Games.
Oh my gosh. Is he Kelsier's sponsor? Since they're from the same planet?
Yeah. Well, one side is.
I mean, in all honesty, I think Vin and fucking Ellen are gonna also be there. So I don't know.
You think they wouldn't make all three of them fight, bro? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Drifter just gapes at Kelsier and says he doesn't think Kelsier knows how to play this game.
Do you even know how to play this game? Do you even lift, bro?
Do you even insult, bro?
Yeah. I mean, we've already established that, I'm not the best insulter when we played that one game. So
When he said, "Do you know how to play this?" I don't think you know how to play this game or whatever. I
Yeah.
got that feeling of like, I don't want to play this anymore. Like,
So the Drifter then says that Kelsier should talk to a guy he knows, tall, bald, and wears lots of earrings. He then jumps for the well, and Kelsier grabs him by the arm and flings him to the edge of the pool. Kelsier tries to punch the Drifter, but the man kicks Kelsier away from him. The man again tries to leap for the center of the pool, but Kelsier grabs him again and pulls him away. He then punches the man in the stomach and then begins punching him repeatedly in the face, but the Drifter doesn't seem remotely dazed and just smiles. So
yeah, I loved it because
I know,
you
right?
punched a god once. You punched a god once, and you're like now like, oh, I can punch all of these people.
He's
And
just
when you
smiling.
punch him, he does nothing. It's just like, brah. When
Yeah.
when a god has their full power, you are still nothing.
Yeah. So what was your first reaction, to the Drifter? Just no reaction to being punched.
That was my reaction.
Yeah. Darkness?
God fighting God.
I got upset because I really wanted him to hurt him.
But yeah, we learn later that the reason why he's likely not reacting is because he explains to Kelsier, like, you don't actually feel pain here. Your mind's just tricking you into feeling pain. So the Drifter dodges a punch by Kelsier and then hits Kelsier hard in the kidneys. Kelsier feels pain even though he doesn't have a body as the man continues to hit him. He tries to stop the man, but his attack is dodged and he's knocked to the ground. The Drifter then holds him by the throat, slamming him against the ground over and over and over again, which just feels fucking brutal. Eventually,
Void, honestly.
But when he said the kidneys, I was like, what kidneys? Like,
where your kidneys would
Isn't
be.
he just missed? Yeah, isn't it just missed? What the fuck?
Where was I?
where were you?
Void was beating the shit out of fucking Kelsey.
Eventually the man lets Kelsier up, and Kelsier knows that the man's eyes are glowing. So what do you think it means that his eyes are glowing?
He's a god.
He's wearing contacts.
He's wearing contacts, I see.
He wants to look pretty.
The Drifter then
Void
says
already looks pretty.
I don't know about that. That's his base appearance.
The glowing eyes? Or just what he looks like here?
Yeah, what he looks like there.
Yeah, I believe this is what he looks like
Picture.
normally. Yeah, I can get a picture of Void. The Drifter then says that he's sorry, but he shouldn't be here, and he's a wild card that he doesn't want to deal with. He also says that he should feel proud because it's been centuries since someone got the drop on him. The Drifter then drops Kelsier, and Kelsier tries to reach for the Drifter, but the Drifter just kicks him repeatedly in the leg. He says it's a lesson and that Kelsier doesn't have a body and thus can't feel pain. His mind is just tricking him because it thinks there should be pain. Kelsier watches as the Drifter.
Makes a lot of sense.
Kelsier then watches as the Drifter holds out his arms and falls into the center of the pool before climbing out of the well a few seconds later as a misty person, meaning he's in the real world. Kelsier gapes as he watches the Drifter leave. And before he leaves, he takes one of the two bits of metal in the corner of the room. Kelsier then concentrates as he forces himself to stop feeling the pain, before moving to the center of the pool and closing his eyes to try and focus on transitioning or something, but nothing happens. So were you surprised to see the Drifter use the well to move between the two realms?
No,
I'm pretty sure we made this comment before when they did it in Elantris. We were like, it's like a portal or something when he went into it the first time.
There's one in Warbreaker, no?
We never see the one in Warbreaker, I don't think. There is wherever there's a god, there is a perpendicularity.
Yeah, I would say there'd have to be one.
There has to be one.
Yeah,
I think I'm assuming it's probably close to where the Tears of Edley flowers grow, because those are like the fancy dyes that are like named after the god there.
Interesting.
So I'm assuming they grow near the perpendicularity. So it's probably close to Halandrin.
Why are you assuming though? Shouldn't you know?
Well, we only have that one book. I don't think we have been told exactly where the perpendicularity is.
I thought you were like the Shardbreaker connoisseur.
Okay, apparently I've looked it up. Apparently Brandon has confirmed that it's located in the jungles near Halandrin.
The jungle. In the jungle.
Mighty jungle.
Also, what do you guys think about the Drifter taking a bead of Lerasium? So Mythic was right. There was more. There was two apparently at one point. But Hoyd took one of them.
He's gathering a shit ton of powers. There ain't no way.
You know that he was trying to become a Melantrian.
Yeah, isn't he? It's almost as if he's trying to. Okay, so instead of the battle royale, maybe he's trying to become the villain in the end. The villain in the end that's gonna all all of the books protagonists are gonna have to come together to fight. Hoyd is
I don't
gonna
know.
be.
My theory, because obviously the Cosmere isn't finished. My theory is that Hoyd wants to become Adonasium. He's going to become all of the gods, like the one true god. That's my theory of what Hoyd wants to do.
Which is still.
What if he wants to bring him back?
Oh.
I mean, he might.
I'm gonna go with that. Cause fuck you, Midnight.
You think he doesn't want to be Adonasium? He just wants to bring Adonasium back.
Yeah. What if he's getting spoken to? What if he's insane? No, I'm just-
Yeah. What if? Oh my God! What if it's a ruined situation?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening.
Elysium's talking to him.
So Fuzz then appears and asks what Kelsier was doing. Kelsier explains how a man with white hair was here and somehow transitioned to the world of the living. Fuzz calls the man Safandrius and says that it was dangerous with ruin here, but if anyone would try it, it would be him. Kelsier also mentions the bit of metal that Safandrius took. Fuzz replies that he thought he would stop interfering when he rejected the rest of them, but that most of the time you can't trust what he says. He then tells Kelsier that the Drifter was an old friend, and that Kelsier can't do what Safandrius did, as his ties to the physical realm have been severed. So what do you think about Fuzz's thoughts on Safandrius?
Oh, I don't know. It confuses me because if Kelsier's ties have been severed, what tie does this man have to every other world?
So I can explain here. Basically, it just means that Hoyd isn't dead. He still has a real body. So he's able to transition between the physical and cognitive world. Kelsier cannot because his real body is dead. He no longer has a real body.
But the thing I'm saying, right, like, is this is the spirit plane of existence, right? You should, when you get here, should only be a spirit form of yourself. So when you go from place to place, how do you just jump? What do you just jump into another of your bodies? Like you have a body in every place?
No, so when you transition through a perpendicularity, your body, like your full body, goes through. Like when you see living people, because remember, Kelsier sees other spirits of people in the physical realm as misty outlines with like glowing metal souls.
Oh, so yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's what you look like in the cognitive realm when you're in the physical realm. But but you can transition your whole physical self into the cognitive realm using the perpendicularities.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. So wait, does that mean that the one dude that went in there didn't die?
It is very possible that he is not dead.
Yeah, the one that was like crazy, and he was like, "Oh, put me in the water," and then supposedly dissolved.
In Elantris, he's talking about.
Yeah, the Hoed. Yeah.
Yeah. So remember in Elantris, all the Elantrians were like, "Oh, when we die, we go into this lake." For all we know, they could all just be hanging out in the cognitive realm. There could be a fuck ton of Elantrians just hanging out.
Imagine that shit gets set free and there's like an army of fucking Elantrians.
Oh my god, if I wish. Like, now I kind of wish Kelsier didn't go into the goddamn
I also just imagine that somewhere there's just a pile of dead Inquisitor bodies in the cognitive realm.
That's perfect.
Because they just keep throwing them in.
No, I mean, I feel like, I guess, I don't know. It's very hard to tell because I guess...
Okay, but like, they're dead, right?
Didn't know he was there.
Yeah, so. I don't really know what happens to like an actual dead body. Like maybe they do just dissolve, but I also just find it funny to imagine just like this pile of Inquisitor corpses with like holes all through them because they throw them in without their spikes. These Swiss cheese Inquisitors just piled up.
I would say, like, you would think that if that appears in a different world and there's somebody like nearby or some shit, they wouldn't like experiment on that shit, you know? Like...
There's also potentially just some random people from the pits of Hazson wandering around the cognitive realm.
Yeah.
Oh, the poor traumatized Ska.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wait, when did you start caring about Ska?
Yeah, right.
It's because you see, in that world, they're not like, you know, whatever world they're in, they're not like of lower class, because, you know. At that point, you're like, you're all lower class because you're alien stuff.
But yeah, also, what do you think he means by Safandrius rejecting him and the others? Who are the others? And like, also, he says they're old friends.
The other gods.
So what do you think he meant by then rejecting him and the other gods? What does that mean?
Well, I'm assuming that if he wants to bring fucking... every time I hear the name Adonasium or whatever it is, I keep thinking of like nose spray.
What?
I don't know. Because of the nasal part.
Adonasium?
Yeah. But like, I'm assuming since if it's my theory. Like,
if your theory is correct,
if like my theory is correct, then he wants to bring them. He wants to bring that dude back, or like that god or whatever.
Yeah, Darkness. Because Darkness, you're the one that came up with that theory, right?
Yeah, it's my theory. I presented the thesis. You'll get it soon.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, I'm joking.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
if that theory is correct, then I forgot where I was going for it.
Do you think he was around before the Shattering then, when Adonasium was still
Yes.
whole?
Yes, but that why else wouldn't he like reject them if he didn't feel like, oh, that's who the god
Wait,
is supposed
no.
to be?
Wasn't wait, no. I don't I think he's no.
He's a. I feel like he's a.
Okay. I'll wait till darkness is done and then I'll ask a question real quick.
Okay.
A
I feel
clarifying
like he's
question.
an after effect of Adonasium getting shattered. Because
So
I feel
you
like
think he came
Adonasium getting
after?
shattered is just like all those gods getting created, and their power being brought together would bring him back, and that's what he wants, and that's why he's rejecting them.
So okay. So we don't have you've never gotten any information like we don't have a whole book on Hoyd, right?
No, not yet. There is a plan for one.
Yeah, I know, because that was in the thing.
Yeah, the Dragonsteel book
before.
is a book that's going to be
Yeah,
based on
about
Yolin
Hoyd.
from way in the past.
Oh my god, that's why there's a Dragon Day.
So my theory, kind of bouncing off of your theory, would be that he was like he's a person from a different time, like maybe before when Adonasium or whatever was actually the god.
So before the
Uh,
Shattering.
Yeah, before the Shattering. And then when it shattered, he somehow gained enough like knowledge of the world itself to know the gods, and now he is trying to like if it's becoming Alnasium, then he was like a human being trying to become a god, or if it's him trying to bring back Alnasium, it's the same concept. But instead of trying to become a god, he's trying to bring back a god.
What if
But
that
I think he was a
what
human
if
beforehand.
he's part of that one? Is like, is it an institute? I don't even know. Like the fucking school or whatever, right?
Oh, the Silverlight Academy?
Yeah, that.
You think he's part of Silverlight?
Well, it would be cool if that's like the actual center of them trying to bring him back.
Is there any books that he doesn't come into?
Any books? No, I believe Hoyd's in every book. Except for apparently
Every
fucking
like
Mistborn
every
book
type of
2,
series.
where they only mention in here, oh yeah, he was in the Terrace Dominance during book 2. I totally thought they actually mentioned that in book 2, and it really pissed me off that I was wrong about that.
Was he in book 1 again?
He was.
Yeah,
remember
he
he
was
meets
in
with
book
Kelsier. He pretends to be an informant.
Yeah.
He
Right.
pretends to be like
Do they
blind.
give him anything?
He used to be a blind guy.
He pretends to be a blind guy. Kelsier basically feeds him like false information about like a house war starting and stuff. And he tries to like get information from Hoyd about whether people know suspect anything about Vin or about him. And then Kelsier basically uses Hoyd's trick of pretending to be blind when he goes to see Straff and pretend to be an informant himself. And then
But you're saying he is in every book though, right?
Yes, he is in every book. He will be in all the Stormlight books. I think the only ones he's in all the main books. I don't know if he's in the 2 novellas for Stormlight, Edge Dancer and Dawn Shard. I don't believe he's in those, but he's in the main books.
Well, I was more when I said the books. I more meant like he's in each type of series, right? Like so.
Yes,
he was
visits
in
every
Warbreaker.
single
He's in
world.
Elantris. He's in Mistborn. He's in Stormlight.
Yeah.
Whether he's in every book of those series, maybe not, but like just in general, he's in.
Yeah, he will be in every series. He's also in the books,
Gotcha.
the ones that came out this year. He's in Tress. He's in Yumi. He's in Sunlit Man.
I don't know what any of these words mean.
I have them at the end of my list because they just came out this year. Their books will be in the future.
Way down in the future, like 6 years from now.
Oh no! Oh my god!
Darkness won't even be here anymore.
That's what I was thinking, Loki.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get a new host too. I'm sure it's gonna be the hardest part because we got to find somebody who's actually read all the books.
No.
Even though our
Knows
host,
the information,
even though our host really hasn't read all of them.
Oh my god! And the fact that they need to like make good questions too.
Yeah, I know.
I'm moving on. Fuzz, Kelsier then asks how the Drifter was able to come to the land of the dead. Fuzz clarifies that it isn't the land of the dead, but the world of the mind. He explains it as men are rays of light, and the physical realm is like the floor where the light pools. The sun is the spiritual realm, where the light originates, and the cognitive realm, which is where they are, is the space between the floor and the sun. Kelsier barely understands the metaphor and thinks that everyone knows so much more than he does. So what do you think about this little explanation of the realms?
Answer anything I had before Kelsier's question. It is still the land of the dead, though.
It's not the land of the dead. Technically, that's the spiritual realm. All the dead people go to the spiritual realm.
But he died and then instantly came here.
Yeah, and he was going to go to the spiritual realm, though. Didn't.
But that's what I'm saying. So it is the land of the dead,
It's
though.
a transition zone, and living people can be
Well-
there too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, people who are alive can get there.
And the gods also hang out here. The gods live
I mean,
in the cognitive realm.
Hercules still made it to the
Underworld.
to Hades. Yeah, to Hades realm, even though he was alive. So that's still
Yeah, but
that's
technically,
still the
by
world
that
of the dead.
logic, you don't get to the real part of the underworld until
You go to the
after.
River Styx. Yeah, you go to the River Styx. You gotta
Well,
get on the boat
that
with
river would go through the
weird
whole
guy.
underworld. So
But you had to go through that though to get to the underworld. So this is what this is. It's still the River Styx is still the land of the dead. That's where the dead go.
It's a little
But
different.
I understand
It's the
what you mean.
cognitive realm.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. You're gonna have to explain it more on how it's different than the River Styx, because that's what it seems like to me.
I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I know, because you don't want to give
Can
spoilers.
you talk more
that you-
about the cognitive realm in Stormlight? So Kelsier thinks
Wait,
that
do they
Fuzz...
go to the cognitive realm in
Actually,
Sunlight?
I'm just saying they
I
talk
would-
about it.
They
I will
just
not
talk
tell you
about it.
if
They
they
don't go there.
I don't know.
Oh, they go there. Got it. Okay.
What were you saying, Darkness?
I was gonna say, I would say it's kind of different because technically, if we're going like Greek mythology based, once you die, you don't directly go to the underworld. So
Oh, you go to the River Styx.
no, the river Styx is in the underworld, but like you don't go there directly. Thanatos has to pick you up first.
I shouldn't
So
think about
that like of getting picked up is where
Yeah,
like Kelsier
That's where
is.
they're at right now. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense now. Damn, why couldn't Midnight have done that? Jesus. But it have to be darkness.
Anyways, Kelsier thinks that Fuzz is doing better today, until Fuzz turns around and Kelsier sees that half his face is gone. Fuzz explains that Sephandrius took a bit of his essence and that it can give a person allomancy. He then tells Kelsier that Ati thinks to finish him, but that he is already dead. He then vanishes, leaving Kelsier alone to think. Kelsier thinks that he needs to
Make
fight
me wonder why he needs the allomancy, though. You know.
because he doesn't have it yet, apparently.
Well, no, I meant, but like in general, like if I was either one of these two people, Kelsier or Preservation, it would have made me think, well, why do you need that? You know.
Also,
like,
he didn't swallow the bead of metal right away. Like, we just see him take it.
Yeah, he just takes it with him.
What?
The way you said that, though.
What?
We didn't see him swallow it right away.
No, I'm saying...
like,
He
does he swallow it?
Don't know. Kelsier
Yeah,
thinks
that's what I'm
Kelsier thinks that he needs to find answers and will reawaken again like he did in the pits of Hassan. He thinks that there is more to this than he had ever known, and that is why he needs to live and stay sane. So what do you think about Fuzz saying he is already dead?
Already dead? Do you see his face?
I mean, earlier he was
That
shouting
face.
at Ruin that he's not dead yet.
Well,
Well,
wasn't
he didn't
at
really
that
know what was
point.
happening. So
Yeah, he wasn't at that point, you know?
Fuzz is having a hard time, okay? He's trying his best.
I don't know. When you try your
Actually,
best,
no,
but
he
you
really
don't
wasn't.
succeed.
he really
Yeah,
wasn't.
really, 100%. Like, I don't know. I feel like he's like a what's the word? Pacifist. He's a pacifist, and pacifists don't win.
He's
in
too
anything.
timid of a god.
Yeah, don't
I
win
mean,
in
he's
anything.
preservation. What are you expecting?
Well, you can preserve while killing. Okay.
You might have to
cannot
ruin
ruin.
in order to preserve.
You preserve other life.
Chapter 2 of Part 2. Kelsier no longer feared madness, as every time he began to grow weary of his imprisonment, he remembers the humiliation of being beaten by the Drifter. He had restarted his study of the Thing Beyond, ducking back beneath the light of the well and not flinching away when the Thing looked at him. He thinks that Ruin is a fitting name for it. He also continues to follow the pulses from the well, learning about Ruin's plans and motivations. He can tell that Ruin is changing the religion of the people, and thus manipulating them. What did you think about Kelsier's renewed energy to try and learn more about Ruin?
Seems more and more like he's a scholar, not a warrior.
Is he gonna join Silverlight?
That's what I was gonna say. That's literally what I was about to say. Wow.
Look, you can't just steal my questions. Sometimes I gotta steal your thoughts too.
Okay, Bruin. Oh wait, that's not how it works.
Yeah, no, Ruin doesn't steal your thoughts. He just somehow
Manipulates
knows
your
what
thoughts.
you say. Yeah.
So Kelsier wonders why Ruin is so focused on the old Terrace prophecies. He also wonders what the Drifter is doing up in the Terrace dominance. Kelsier also sees a mysterious Mistborn that Ruin has following Vin around. Kelsier is desperate for glimpses of his friends, and luckily Ruin seems focused on Vin and Elend. He worried about the armies he saw surrounding Luthadel, and is upset to learn that they had put Elend, a nobleman, in charge. He couldn't believe that Dox even seemed to be listening to Elend. So yeah, what did you think of Kelsier's reaction to Elend being in charge?
I'd expect it. I definitely thought he would be letting, or
Accepting.
yeah. But nah.
Me too.
I mean, but like I said before the podcast, I can understand because he has a limited scope of what he can see.
Yeah. I think
So,
maybe if he
like,
had still been alive and interacted with Elend, he probably would have come around to him a
yeah.
bit more. But like he really didn't get to know much about Elend. It was kind of just like, okay, Vin loves him. He seems to kind of
I'll
care for
save
her. I guess he's okay. I'll save him from dying.
I wonder what position Kelsier would have had if he did live.
I feel like Kelsier would have wanted to be in charge, but I think as Vin says in the books, like he wouldn't have made a good leader.
I would not have.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be good at like kind of the daily bureaucracy stuff. He probably would have been good at dealing with the armies, but not so much at dealing with just like ruling a kingdom.
I don't even know if he'd be that good at dealing with the armies.
Well,
the man lied to an entire army to get them to go kill themselves.
that's true. But I was thinking more along the lines of like he would be like Vin, you know, like that ace where like she pops out of nowhere and starts slaughtering everyone.
Yeah, he probably would have gone in, killed Straff, killed Set, and then when the Kola showed up, he would have just been like, okay, Vin, let's go kill them all.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I guess just like his mentor, you know?
Yeah.
He learned all of it, what he needs from him.
So occasionally he also caught glimpses of his brother Marsh, who he had learned had been made into an Inquisitor and not killed like he had thought. He thinks that their relationship had been strained, not because they both loved Mare, but because growing up they had both known that if one was caught as a half-blood, the other would also be caught. He thinks that he isn't fond of his brother, but he does love him. Kelsier also learned that Ruin could talk to Marsh and the other Inquisitors, although he didn't know how exactly. He sees Ruin stalking Vin and Elend, one night appearing as a mist spirit and trying to stab Elend while Vin watches. He wonders why Ruin wanted Vin to see him try to kill Elend, as it seems like that was the goal and not to actually kill him. So what do you think about the fact that Ruin was actually the one who appeared as that mist spirit to try and kill Elend?
That's how we went over this.
Did we?
I'm pretty sure.
No, I'm pretty sure I said before the podcast I was making comments about this specific thing. But I don't know. I think a lot like what happened with Alendi, like was probably also Ruin.
He's like, don't
'Cause
go
I
near my
don't
fucking well, bitch.
Yeah, 'cause I
Fucking
don't
attacks
think-
Felt. Or not
You
Felt.
scared the fuck out of me. I was like, why the fuck is she always so aggressive right now?
No, it's being Ruin! Ruin who's got mad at that guy who went near his well.
I was like, what the fuck is
Like,
happening?
don't touch my
Yeah,
fucking well, bitch!
It definitely is more Ruin's thing because Preservation just seems like too much of a pacifist.
Yeah, I
Whoever
don't.
have tried to stab anyone,
He
and that's why I
does
think,
have a
that's why I think
knife.
Kelsier is that's why I think Kelsier is going to take that knife and he's going to stab Ellen to try to stop Vin from whatever doing
Freeing
the fuck
Ruin.
shit, and then obviously that's going to backfire because Vin thinks she's selfless by taking the power, and yeah,
Or you mean by releasing the power?
whatever, yeah.
Whatever.
So my overview questions. What do you think, since we're kind of talking about that, what do you think will happen to Kelsier when Vin releases Ruin? Is he also going to be released, or is he going to still be stuck in the well?
I think he's going to be stuck.
He's gonna slip through to another world. Imagine.
I mean, seeing as I already looked and saw that there were more things to this, and I feel like it's not going to be like, it's not going to be. I feel like it's going to be in the next chapter when they do the whole releasing Ruin thing. I think it's going to stay in Kelsier's perspective, so obviously he's either going to be stuck there or he's going to get away. But where would he go if he got away? Is the question.
Also,
no, I think he'll just be imprisoned there.
Yeah. So do you think Kelsier is gonna learn more about Ruin while trapped in the well here? Like, is he gonna start to like figure out the whole like Ruin's plan? What basically Vin spent a whole book trying to figure out?
Yeah, probably. Kelsier's a lot smarter than Vin, anyways. So.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that he couldn't kill the Lord Ruler kind of oversight, but you know.
Well, he wasn't the chosen one, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. He wasn't the hero of ages.
The hero of ages.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Unless he was the hero of ages.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
not from
Maybe.
that side.
Exactly. Maybe he's another hero of ages. Yeah.
Say he's just the
He's
hero
just-
of ages.
No.
He's a spiritual. No.
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 Say he's just
No,
proven to
Sage-
be the hero of ages.
No.
No.
Just because he claims it himself,
Oh my
I could
gosh.
say I'm a god. Doesn't mean I'm a god.
He became Harmony.
It's a god.
Yeah, well, I'm a
But the
30-year-old
hero of
suburban white
ages.
woman, so.
Oh my god.
Also, where do you guys think this story is going? What do you think kind of like the end goal of this story is going to be?
Us
Death.
to understand. Yeah,
Oh.
us to understand why Kelsier is, going to choose his own death again.
Do you think Kelsier is going to end up in the Beyond by the end of the story?
He's gonna move on.
No, I don't. I think because Preservation's already kind of made that comment about, like, he's preserved or whatever. I feel like he's now going to be stuck, kind of like the other guy, Hoyd. Kind of like Hoyd. I feel like maybe that's exactly what happened to Hoyd.
You think Hoyd's a cognitive shadow?
But-
Hoyd does have a body, though.
But it at the end of the fucking books, doesn't
he was trying to hide something from Kelsier. Maybe there's some way that Kelsier's actually able to get out of this.
What were you saying, Darkness?
well, doesn't like what's his name? Wasn't he like, oh, Mare and fucking Kelsier and all those people are like, like saying something or whatever. So like, I'm assuming they do get together at the end, unless he lied, which great possibility.
I don't even remember what you're talking about. So
where he tells Spook, I think it was Spook, in the note, and he's like, I forgot what exactly they said, but like he mentions Mare and
Kelsier
and the rest.
I vaguely remember, but I don't remember what that was. I vaguely remember what you're talking about, but I just don't remember what was actually said.
You mean vaguely? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, vaguely.
I don't say like that. I say vaguely.
No, you don't.
No, you really don't.
I do. I say vaguely. What are you talking about?
No, you definitely said vaguely.
I don't. What the fuck?
No, but like that makes me think like like if they're able to talk to each other,
Yeah, I think Say says he talked. He definitely says he talked to Vin and Elend, and that they moved on.
Yeah, that's who I remember him talking to.
Yeah,
he
says
him
that
talking to Kelsier.
he says that he couldn't bring
Mare.
back their souls, but they didn't. They were happy moving on anyways.
I thought he did talk to Kelsier.
I don't remember if he says he talked to
I'm
Kelsier
gonna
because
go back and look for it.
Yeah, go
I
for
don't
it.
think he would have,
look it up
because that
online,
would have been a
Darkness.
spoiler for whether Kelsier was alive or not.
Yeah, just look up.
What do you mean?
Just look it up online, Darkness.
No, don't look it up.
What do you mean it would have been a spoiler if Kelsier
Well,
is alive or not?
I mean, depending on the way he says it.
It would
like,
spoil this book, is what you're saying.
Kelsier literally fucking died in that
but
book.
he's alive right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, but so did Mare die and like all the others. So why wouldn't he be able to talk to them too?
I tried to
The
bring them
prologue?
back, but I couldn't.
Epilogue.
Epilogue, the ending.
Oh, it was the epilogue.
Oh, he does say that Kelsier's request, he made Spook into a Mistborn.
Right.
Oh, so Kelsier talked to him.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
so he does-
saying.
so he does
Like,
talk to
nobody's
Kelsier.
listening. I'm about to.
Sorry, I
quit
totally
this
forgot
fucking
about that.
podcast.
I'm sorry.
But that's not Kelsier and Mare, though.
Yeah, I don't think he mentions Mare. He just mentions Kelsier.
Yeah.
Okay, I probably put Mare in there.
I think you probably put Mare in there.
Yeah, I think you were thinking about Ellen and...
They mentioned
Vin.
like the fact that the flowers like Mare's drawing are like around the area where Vin and Ellen's
That's
bodies
probably
are.
what it is.
But
Wait,
yeah.
so wait. That makes me think. What if you're right and they didn't move on, and it's those three that are chosen to stay?
They're gonna
for
be
the
adventures of
ultimate
Kelsier,
fight.
Vin, and Elend. If Kelsier's like, oh god, I'm with the nobleman.
Yeah, but like, those are the chosen ones to fight in the ultimate battle. Yeah.
It's just Vin, Elend, and Vin's adoptive dad.
Yeah.
Not awkward at all.
Who Ellen wasn't he like at some point jealous of like Kelsey and stuff?
Yeah,
Like,
he was a little worried because like some of the crew were like, "Oh, do you like Kelsier like romantically?" And she's like, "No,
Oh,
what the fuck?"
no. I mean, but I feel like that was more like Brandon putting in a self-insert of, like, guys, stop shipping them.
Yeah, it definitely was because apparently a lot of his beta readers were like shipping them. He's like, "Please stop,
Yeah.
please, this is
like,
not how I wanted
no.
things."
Yeah, like, there were
He's like
so
double her
many
age.
times... there were so many times in the book that he, like, reiterated...
Yeah,
They are,
even in
like,
this book, like
father, daughter.
he briefly
Yeah,
says
he
like
did it
Kelsier
again,
feels a
yeah.
parental feeling
Well,
towards Vin.
I was like...
Here's where I'm gonna get like a little possibly hated or negative thoughts from people. You know?
Gosh,
What if they do end up being a trio? No.
what did they? What? Sorry.
What if they end up being a trio?
Oh my god.
I had a feeling that was coming.
I meant like a team, you know.
Mm,
Yeah,
I'm
that's not
sure
what
you
meant.
did.
That's definitely not what you meant.
What do you mean?
That's definitely not what you meant.
That's exactly what I meant.
Uh-huh. Alright. So for next week, which we'll have to discuss after what we want to do about the exact day, we'll talk about that after the podcast. But for next episode, we'll be reading from chapter 3 of part 2 all the way to chapter 3 of part 5 of Mistborn Secret History. So look forward to that. And yeah, thank you to everyone for listening. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.